So every now and then a new piece of gear comes on the market that gets me really excited about playing guitar and making music again. And that's what we have today. We've got the Microcosm from Hologram Electronics, and this is a new effect, at least a new effect for me. This is something completely out of left field that I'm not used to playing. I'm so excited about it, in fact, that I haven't even begun to play it or learn how to use it yet, and I'm already starting the video, because instead of doing a typical sort of like gear review or my thoughts on a pedal after a few weeks of owning it and playing with it, I actually want to document the process of learning it and learning how to use it and what it can do. So in today's video, we're going to explore the sound of this thing. We're going to find out what it's good at, its quirks, and figure out how to actually use it. I'm not kidding. I've got the manual right here pulled up because this is not a typical guitar pedal. There's a lot more going on here than at least I'm used to. So let's see what we can do with it. Okay, so just got done tracking that intro piece, and wow. I'm still in the very beginning processes of learning this thing, but it's almost like a second instrument that you're playing alongside your guitar. And I should take a second to point out that Hologram did send me this for free, but this video is in no way sponsored in any other way other than them sending the pedal. They don't have any input on this video. They didn't even ask for a video. I'm doing this because I'm genuinely excited about this piece of gear. I think you have to approach this thing like you're playing a second instrument. Like what you send from your guitar into the front of this thing and then using it to manipulate those sounds in interesting ways. This is something that I could see myself spending a really, really long time using and not ever getting the same kind of sound. I've never played an effect like that before. So this is on the micro loop setting in the mosaic subsetting, and it's in the first of the 4 settings. So that's what's cool about this pedal, is that within each of the 4 different effect types, you have 3 different sub effects, and then within each of those 3 sub effects you have 4 different presets. So whatever the math is on that, you guys can do that and let me know. But this is literally micro loop, mosaic, effect 1, preset 1, and I've never played an effect like that. It's like taking your notes, your arpeggios, your lines, and then repeating them back to you in different, almost completely random intervals. It's like sprinkling them in on whatever you're playing. And if you play something diatonic like I just did, it's almost like it's playing back to you and you're playing to it, and it creates this like interesting sort of feedback loop, this like harmonic feedback loop where you're playing based off of what it's playing, but it's playing based off of what you played earlier. I could sit and do that for hours. Just sit in here and play chords for hours and hours. This might be my new favorite pedal. Okay, so I've been taking some time off camera to really kind of sit with this thing and figure out the 4 different effect types and what they're doing. And I'm really connecting with the granules effect type. And right now I'm going to show you the strum effect, sort of what it does, but primarily as a way to kind of show you how quickly you can go from a pretty typical sort of multi-delay guitar sound to something that is completely atmospheric and textural and ambient. If you're into ambient stuff at all, you should check this pedal out. So right now, here's my my clean tone, if you will. I'm going into the quad cortex here with an AC30 profile pulled up, and I'm going stereo out of the quad cortex, stereo into the microcosm, and then stereo out of the microcosm into a pair of VP28s here from CAPI. So, and I've found that using a slightly overdriven guitar sound really wakes this thing up. I think the extra sort of harmonic content of the overdrive does interesting things with the effect. So this is the effect right now. Essentially, the strum effect, if I read the manual, Hologram describes it as rhythmic chains of recent note onsets create pointillistic textures. So I guess this is what that sounds like. So it's taking sections, little slices of your playing, and then repeating it at different intervals of speed and pitch, depending on what setting you're in. But if you play something a little more musical than that, it sounds like this. That's amazing. Now I've honed in on a few key controls here that I think are the most important and most usable things on the pedal. First of all is the activity in the top left here. Now activity controls different things in the different subgroups, and I think that's really, really smart. So on the granules setting on strum, activity controls the density of the pattern. So if I bring the activity control down, you hear there's just less happening. And if I bring it way up, I think that's great. Next up is the filter, and this is a really cool way to instantly add character to whatever this thing is doing. You can kind of get it into like a lo-fi sort of sound. Then we have repeats. This is another super useful one that I found because you can control essentially how long the effect is lingering. You can kind of keep it short. If you're playing something that's transitioning between chords or notes pretty quickly, it can sort of get out of the way and not step on something that you might be playing. So you can see it cuts out pretty quickly versus and then we have the space control, which is essentially the reverb. There's 4 different reverbs available here, all in stereo, and this is what they call the ambient reverb. And this is how you can instantly take this thing into another world. Check this out. So this is the ARP mode, and like any synthesizer, this is basically taking what you play and arpeggiating it. And there's 4 different modes here, like everything else. This is one that I just picked at random, and it's instantly musical. You play in time with whatever tempo that you tap in to the pedal, and it starts to slice up and arpeggiate and move your notes around, and it makes things like playing pentatonic riffs like I just did so much more interesting and rhythmic. And you could do like what I just did and use the hold sampler here to sample a piece of what's happening in the pedal and then build the rhythm track around that, drums around that. You could do a number of things with what is captured in this pedal. To me, that's what I'm really connecting with the Microcosm the most. It's an inspiration machine. Anything you put into it, you can manipulate and shift into different ways and do things that any of my other pedals or plugins can't do that easily. It's something completely different and completely new. I've been playing with this thing for about 2 days now, since the beginning of making this video, and I haven't even begun to scratch the surface of what all you can do with it. And for me, that's really exciting. I haven't even gotten into the looper function or half of the algorithms in here. I mean, this thing is really, really deep. So if you're like me at all and you're sort of effect curious and you want to see what you can do, you want to step out of the normal sort of guitar effect realm, this is something that I think is worth checking out. This is something I'm going to hold on to forever, I think, and find new ways of using it. I'd love to put vocals through this. I'd love to put drums through this. There's so many sounds that I've pulled up in here that as soon as you play it, it's like, oh, that could be an album, or that could be on a movie soundtrack or a film score. So yeah, I think the Microcosm is my new favorite pedal. And I'm not saying that for a catchy YouTube title. I'm not trying to clickbait. I genuinely mean that. I get asked sometimes on Instagram, things like that, oh, what's your desert island pedal if you could take one pedal to play with forever? And I think it's gotta be this, because it does so much and it does so many unique and interesting things, and it's another instrument. It's not an effect, it's another instrument. So I think that's really cool. Big thanks to Hologram Electronics for sending this pedal out. This is something that I actually had in my reverb cart for weeks, and I was gonna wait until after the move to purchase it, and they just so happened to email me last week and say, hey, could we send you the Microcosm? And I was like, yes, you can, because I'm really excited about this thing. So once again, huge thanks to them. I'll have it linked down below if you're interested in checking one out. But I'd love to know your thoughts on this pedal. Is this something that you're interested in? Do you think this is a cool direction for the future of guitar and just effects in general? Or is this a little out of your wheelhouse? Let me know. As always, if you're interested, you can check out the tone course and my other video courses linked down below, the Nashville Number System course, and I'm working on a new video course which will be available very soon. And we also have a new membership area coming within the next few weeks, which will give you access to all the courses and early access to new course material as I'm putting it out. So be on the lookout for that. If you're interested in any of the gear that I used to make today's video, I have some affiliate links in the description box down below. That's a great way to support the channel if you would like to do so. You can also check out my Helix presets, Kemper Profiles, things like that. Everything's down below. Once again, huge thanks to everyone who's watching and supporting and subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate it. My name is Rhett Shull, and remember, there is no plan B.